Let's turn to Washington now, where Elon Musk is already causing a stir with people questioning how much influence the billionaire will actually have on Trump's administration. This comes after Musk torpedoed Speaker of the House Mike Johnson's initial end-of-year measure to extend government funding. Joining me now is political journalist John Fund. John, great to see you. Trump actually responded to the scrutiny around Musk. Here he is on that.
Good. It saved a lot of lives, so we want to thank him. But no, he's not going to be president, that I can tell you. And I'm safe. You know why? He can't be. He wasn't born in this country.
Now, because of Musk's intervention, the US government almost went into shutdown. What did you make of all of this?
Well, first of all, a government shutdown in the U.S. is not really a shutdown. Almost everything continues as before. Secondly, Elon Musk did complicate matters because he opposed the original bill that Speaker Johnson in the House had proposed. However, despite all of the anger and the controversy, we ended up in a better place than we would have been if we'd passed that original bill. The bill is skinnier, i.e. cheaper than it was, and Elon Musk can take some credit for it. Now, is it unorthodox for a billionaire to intervene? Well, yes. On the other hand, he wasn't the only one intervening. Millions of Americans contacted their members of Congress. Elon Musk was just the transmission belt through Twitter for them to learn what was in a 1,500-page bill that no one had the time to read. And I think it showed that while Elon Musk may be causing Donald Trump some difficulty because of all the attention he's getting, I think Trump appreciates the power that Elon using Twitter can have, which, when it's combined with Donald Trump's ability to threaten Republicans with primary challenges, is what I call a force multiplier.
Yeah, and look, Trump is certainly no stranger to using Twitter, or X now as it's called, himself. So in that respect, I guess there's not too much difference between the two, is there?
Well, Donald Trump does have a habit of falling out with friends. The Democrats are just predicting, it's only a matter of time before they rub each other the wrong way. On the other hand, in the first 100 days of the Trump administration, almost all of what's going to come up is stuff they agree on. Government efficiency, government cutbacks, or at least reductions in the rate of growth of spending. And I think that we're going to see them dancing together peacefully for quite some time. If there's a breakup, it'll be later in the year.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens in your predictions, whether they come true. Now, Trump's controversial pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he's still facing a tough battle for confirmation, with senators now pushing to see his FBI background check. John, do you think that Pete Hegseth will make it to confirmation and be confirmed?
It's unclear. He's done a fairly good job visiting senators and calming some of their concerns. However, there's a lot that's out there, and the hearing is on January 14th. They're usually, in a controversial nomination like this, as it was with Brett Kavanaugh, who was nominated for the Supreme Court in 2017, there's usually a last-minute surprise. When Brett Kavanaugh appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee, there was a break in the normal procedure that only senior senators got to look at the FBI background check. Other senators were allowed to look. I think that is going to happen with this. There's several senators who say they don't want to vote on Pete Hegseth until they find out what the FBI has learned. And in this case, for something as conventional as just checking into someone's background, I think the FBI still has a good reputation. So I don't think they're completely discredited in that regard.
Look, how long can we expect this process to take? Because there's been a lot of discussion about Pete Hegseth, but when do you think we might see his confirmation happen, or that at least the confirmation hearing?
I think it's unlikely that he will be confirmed before January 20th, when Donald Trump takes office. These things always take longer than you predict if the nomination is controversial. I believe it's a 50-50 bet right now that Pete Hegseth is confirmed, because, as a previous cabinet official once said, there are known unknowns and there are unknown unknowns out there, and there's more to probably come on Pete Hegseth. Whether or not he can combat it is a separate story.
Okay, well, we will be watching all the way from here. Now, since the election campaign started, Trump has vowed to protect women's spaces, in particular, keeping biological males out of women's sports. Here's some of what he's had to say on that.
With the stroke of my pen on day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy, and we will keep men out of women's sports.
How has all of this been received in America? Do you expect to see protests after he is inaugurated?
Oh, I'm sure there will be protests, but nothing like there would have been 5 years ago. Most Americans do not believe the trans issue is the most important thing facing the country, or even in the first few slots. In addition, the basic rights of trans people are protected. We're talking about things which are, shall we say, a little unusual and a little different than most civil rights that we discuss in the United States. And finally, things have moved. 5 years ago this week was the week that J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter book series, the most popular book series in modern history, first sent out her tweet saying sex is sex, gender is gender, and people should go to the bathroom that birth dictated. Well, you know what? She was pilloried, she was boycotted, she was smeared, but she's standing tall, and she's basically been vindicated. In Britain, there's been a wholesale retreat on gender reassignment surgery being mandated or tolerated, and I believe that the same thing is happening in America. So I think this issue, while it certainly gets a lot of clicks on the internet, has largely been resolved. We're going to give trans people rights, but we're not going to basically deny biological science and basically promote theories that simply don't bear out.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned 5 years. I didn't know that since J.K. Rowling made that momentous tweet. It's certainly a very different situation in Australia with our laws here, but I think you're right. There has been a shift over there. It's hard to remember that Trump isn't president yet with all this, John, not only due to the command he's taken on U.S. and foreign politics already, but also because, well, Joe Biden is simply missing in action. Here's what the White House press secretary said about that.
When is the next time that people will hear from the president? I'm not going to get into hypotheticals.
What type of response was that?
I've never heard anything like that from the podium at the White House. The Wall Street Journal last week had a 3,800-word piece, heavily documented, basically showing that the cover-up of Joe Biden's infirmities and cognition problems began the day he took office. And I'm just astonished at the media's inability to go back and re-examine their behavior, how they let this happen. We almost had a situation where the country elected a president who would have been manifestly incapable of responding in a crisis. There's no one right now, I think, looking at Joe Biden in the rare sightings we've seen him in the last few weeks, that think that he could have served a second term as president. I think there has to be a reckoning here. This is one of the major reasons that people in the 2024 election voted for Donald Trump, because they said, if the media will lie about something this important, the fitness of someone for office, what else are they lying to us about?
So true. And just as to be said for the record, we certainly didn't lie about it here on Sky News Australia. We told it to people straight right from the beginning. John Fund, thank you for your time tonight. And as always,
thank you.